Greetings, comrades. My name is Admiral Andre, and I greet you again. To be honest, this is the second time I'm recording this video. I decided I'm not going to release it as it was because the audio was just terrible. Unfortunately, Audacity used my webcam's microphone instead of my proper one, which is right here. So it was a really terrible sound. So I thought, no, we're not going to keep this. We're going to do it again. So here we are again, comrades. I still think it's worth to explore this topic here. So as you can see on the background here, this is a game that was released yesterday on the 20th of February, and it's called How Do You Like It, Elon Musk? It's developed and published by Untitled Games. I've never heard of them before this game, but I have been tracking this on my wish list for a while. So I thought, let's talk about this in a video on the channel. So this will just be a preview, a single episode, just to showcase it in a manner of speaking, and we can just have a look at it. Now, I have to say, it does remind me a lot of KSP in its earliest days. I've also covered that on this channel before, just a little revisit of the old KSP. But let's have a look at this because, again, for me, and as I said in the previous recording of this video as well, if there's any kind of hope for a future development for this game, it can truly become great because we've seen how KSP also came from very humble roots, and we know today what it is, you know, and what the full capability of that is. And it's still growing. And of course, the next version, KSP2, is in the works. And there was just a video, two videos actually, on that yesterday that were released. So again, it's real hope for this game as well to possibly, to some extent, follow in that footsteps of KSP. Anyway, let's get into it, comrades. Right, welcome, comrades. This is the main menu, as you can see here. How do you like it, Elon Musk? Apparently, this is some kind of a Russian meme as well, where they have this with any kind of new technology, then they say, how do you like it, Elon Musk? So I think there's a kind of a history to that phrase there. But here we see it's by Untitled Games, so that's a slightly different spelling there, but okay, you can explore this here. It's version 0.7.3. So I'll just take you through very quickly here. I don't even know what the extras are. This is if you buy the highest level of the game, you can actually contribute your name into the game. So if I say about... Yes, we see here the creators of this game. It's just a few of them, so it's a very small group making this. And kudos to them because obviously we know how much work goes into a space game like this. Right, so back. Options, we just have a few basic ones, English or Russian. The developers are Russian. Audio, we also see a few options. Video, again, just the basics here. And of course controls, and you'll see also if you are familiar at all with KSP, this will be second nature to you, so you don't even need to do the tutorial really. Now if I say continue, it'll show the save games. I'll actually load that because I've already made the one for us to use. I think, is this the same one? Yes, it is. Anyway, if you start a new game, all it will ask you is to give the name of your spaceport. So I just called it Admiral Andre Spaceport because why not? And you see it has this kind of an XCOM layout, which is very promising to me. I really find this interesting, and I'm very hopeful that this will grow in the future. But if you look at the Steam page, they actually say there's these kind of development phases that will still come in the future. And one of them, I think the next one, is expanding your Cosmodrome. So basically in this game you are playing as the Russian counterpart to Elon Musk. And your goal is also to go into space and eventually go to Mars and all of these other places. But this definitely has a very Russian kind of a spin to it. So I think that's really interesting. Now we only have these three kind of compartments here, and this is only in Sandbox. There's no other versions available yet. So if we go into the command center, they give us these missions, but I don't know if we can actually complete them yet. But we can go to the map screen from here, which is of course very important. So this is again very familiar. If you play KSP at all, it's the same kind of thing as the tracking station. So our launch site, we can't actually see that right now. I'll time warp. And again, this is familiar. There's no shortcut for the time warp keys yet, so you have to do it manually. But we are located right up here, far north of Japan, in the far eastern region of Russia. So that's where our Cosmodrome is located. Right, so if you have any tracked objects, you can just launch them and play with them from here, and then obviously delete them, and the same thing as the tracking station in KSP. We also have this part here, storage and staff. I already hired these 2 staff members. They're the only ones available, but I don't think they do anything. There's no other information available yet. So just an interesting point there. Let's go back. And this is the VAB right here. You build your rockets sideways, and then there's a track on the bottom, a train track right here. So that's again the Russian heritage, where it's taken to the launch pad and then it's put up right there. We don't see that. I don't know if that will be incorporated later. I assume it will just be like KSP, where you just jump straight onto the launch pad. So, but anyway, it's an interesting note. So let's go into this. This is the craft that I built in the previous recording, called the Test Vehicle 1. Now, I think I'll actually start from scratch, because obviously there's some important notes here. So I'll start with a new spacecraft, and we'll go from there. Right, so first things first, as we know, double click there to give a name. So I'll say this is the Test Vehicle 2. Right, so why not, you know, unknown vehicle, unknown rocket. So here we see all of the parts that are available. That's also why I moved the webcam a little, so we can at least see them all. So it's very limited at the beginning, but again, like I said, KSP was the same thing at the start, so we only had a few parts. And also other basics are not available, like symmetry, and that's why I also wanted to show the building process, so you can at least see that. Now we start off with 2 possible command modules, Vice, I don't exactly know how to pronounce that, so I'll just improvise, a Vice command module, and to me, this is very reminiscent of the original command module that we had in the earliest versions of KSP, especially if you look at it from the side, which I think is a nice kind of a throwback, just so it lives again, you know. The other one is called a Sputnik 2 command module, so it does have auto-stabilization and so on. It's kind of a strange design here. I've not used this one before. I wonder if we should do that now. No, let's use the other one. Right, so we'll start with this. Of course, we need a parachute. And unfortunately, I just have to hide some of the things so we can actually see the description here. There we go. It's called a broken frontal parachute, and that should tell you all that you need to know, comrades. In the video that I just recorded, I also discovered that it doesn't do anything. It's just basically a decoration at the moment, so it literally is a broken frontal parachute. So just be aware of that. I'll still add it on just for the sake of it. But whoever is in here is not coming back alive. So anyway, let's just put all of the parts back again, and I can just move this. We just move along the VAB by using the shift and the mouse wheel. So I'll just do that. Right, now this is of course the basic start here. I now want a decoupler, so we find a Seeker decoupler here. You get 2 versions of it. and I think you can see the difference. The top is flat, whereas with the second one there are these kind of attachment nodules on the top. But this one, as you can see, the capsule already has the nodules protruding on the bottom, so it will just fit into the decoupler like that. Right, so we have this in place. The other thing I just want to mention again is we can see they have an actual pass resources version available. It's the same with the side decouplers, but I don't think they actually work yet because I've tried this on my own, where I have a central rocket stage with the side attachers or decouplers, and then emptied or just tanks on the side but no engines, to see if it would pump the fuel in, but it doesn't work. It just burns the central stage and that's it. So I don't think it's operational yet, unless I'm missing something. Now in this case we'll just put a let's see, a service module, command module here. Shall we take this one? Yes, that's the other point I also have to mention. The smallest tank is called the little one, which is a very nice name, but you can't put solar panels onto that because you cannot just attach parts like in KSP at any point. It has to have attachment points on the central tank or object. So if we click on this, we see the versions on the bottom here. We can also have one that just has the fuel, the UDMH, or the oxidizer N2O4, but of course we want both, and we want one with 2 side attachment points, and then we just snap it on there. So the other thing is, like, you can see it's not aligned properly. It's kind of at a strange angle pointing down. I think you can't change that. You can just change the basic orientation. Whoops, just took the webcam away. So let's not do that again. You see, it doesn't have smaller steps than that. The other thing also is now it won't reattach again. To kind of fix that, okay, that actually does reattach, but the other option, no, it doesn't. No, it's the same thing I had in the previous recording. To fix that, you just have to move your rocket a little bit and it will attach again. There we go. Right, so now we need an engine on this command and service module. The smallest one I don't think is going to work. It's too small. It has a thrust in a vacuum of 19.6 kilonewtons. But the other point here is also we can't see any delta V information, and we can't see thrust to weight ratios. So that should still be added later, so we don't have to guess. But I'm going to take the second weakest engine, the Iskra 758. But as you will see with this engine, it has 2 little nodules there, and that means we can't just attach them right in the middle. You see, it won't go there, and we don't have offset tools, so I have to attach 2 of them just to be balanced. And there's no symmetry, like I said, you have to do them individually. So the reason I wanted these attachment points on the service module is so I can have the solar panels, because they need to be attached to those points. And that's that. So we also get these kind of cargo bay sections, but I don't know what they can be used for yet. You see they're empty in the middle, and you'll still need fuel, so why not just have the one thing together? Anyway, that's that. So now we have our actual capsule and craft ready. So we have to use the clicker longitudinal decoupler. That is the only one I think that works with engines. So it's again very Russian in style, which is very appropriate here. And it's familiar like with the Soyuz booster and so on. So it's almost like a hot stage, but not really. I don't think they'll blow up if you do the hot staging. Maybe we should test that. So we'll fire the engines first and then decouple. So that's something new that I didn't do in the previous video. So maybe it's worth it, you know. Now I want to do it differently. You saw previously I had the central core and a lot of strap-on boosters, but now I don't want to do that. I want to do something different just because I don't want it to be the same. So let's use a heavy fuel tank in the middle. and then a Raduga 52 liquid fuel engine. That's the second most powerful one. There's just 4 engines at the moment. No SAS, or not SAS, reaction control systems, but we do get a small reaction wheel right down here, 4.5 kilonewton torque, but the capsule also has a reaction wheel, so we don't need that at the moment anyway. But the other point is, the engines don't actually gimbal yet. I hope that will be added in the game later, but therefore the only way to move the rocket is through the reaction wheel, or the built-in reaction wheel of the capsule. So it's just something to keep in mind. We also don't have any fins yet, so if I click aerodynamics, it just takes it away, but it's just the nose cone. So we have to be really cautious when we launch this thing, and we'll get to that when we are actually on the launch pad, but it's just something to keep in mind. Right, we'll use the clicker again. And we only have a single diameter for all the tanks. We do have a larger diameter cargo decoupler, but I don't exactly know how we would use that yet, since it's only the one diameter. Right, let's now add another one of these. This is the biggest fuel tank. Oh, it's very finicky, you just have to be careful about that. And I'll add another one, and that takes us almost out, but I can move the whole rocket, but it's just easier to just use it like this. And the Zarya 352 is the heaviest engine. That has a thrust at sea level, or surface level, I'm assuming. No, it should be sea level, of 1600 meganewtons. So that should be enough. Again, I have to guess now, really. But I think, would this be enough to get to orbit? I'm not sure. The other point is also, this is not like KSP in the sense that it's a smaller solar system. This is like almost like the realism overhaul mod of KSP. So we have to basically get up to 7.4 kilometers per second to reach low orbit. So it's a lot more difficult in that sense. But you know, if you are already good at KSP, then this is a nice upgrade in a way, especially in the future with more development. Now, is this enough? Is this gonna, you see, I can't attach anything now to this tank without replacing it and using the one with the side attachment nodes. I say let's use this and test it. So of course check your staging, and we'll use the hot stage. See, there's a problem here. Hot staging means I have to add another stage, take this one down to that, move this to there. So we have the first engine, then the second one, then we decouple, then we have this third engines, the pair of them, and then decouple that. And then of course we should have another one, should we not? No, that's it. So why is there 2 decouplers on the end? Oh yes, it's obviously to get rid of the service module as well. Right, I think that's it, comrades. Now we can save it. The other note is, don't save until you're done with the rocket, because it won't let you save it again unless you go out of the VAB and make a change to it again, and then you can save it. So it's a little finicky, but you know, early access, we work with it, we roll with it, comrades. Let's launch this thing and see if we can make it. It's exciting because now it's an unknown again. I don't know if it will actually work. So it's loading, and here we are on the launch pad. If I open the map now, we'll see actually where we are, the craft. So it's in kind of far eastern Russia, above North Korea. So dubious neighborhood, but you know. So we launch east over Japan, or at least above north of Japan. So it's not going to be easy if you want an equatorial orbit. So there's the moon. I've not even checked that out yet, so let me double click on that. I'm assuming you can land on it now. That would be a tough challenge. Should we Okay, let's try that. I don't know if anyone's done that on a YouTube video yet, so maybe we can have a first on the channel. It's always a good thing, right? But first we just test this rocket. So, same thing with KSP. You use the left shift or control for the throttle, or X and Z. And that's it. So the SAS is already on. They call it spacecraft auto stabilization. And you also have like the prograde, retrograde, normal and anti-normal. But now we get to the idea of the influence of the atmosphere. When you're doing the tutorial, they actually tell you to only start your gravity turn above 30 kilometers. And I've tested this and I keep hitting the mic and I'm sorry about that. If you try and make your gravity turn earlier, which I would really like to do ideally, the rocket will totally become uncontrollable and it will just flip over. And I mean, it's an old story, we know that from KSP, but it's worse here because the engines don't gimbal and you can't add fins. So that's just again one of those things. But anyway, we have the surface speed indicator here. Then we have the altitude. The fuel is in cubic meters, which is not easy to follow because I think it's the whole craft. So you have to left click on the tanks and basically guess when the stage will run out. That's the easiest way to see it. The mass, the pressure of course, and the mission time. And we have a little light to say the electric charge is available. We'll see it right here as well. And the reaction wheels are okay. So, I'm not going to talk about time warp yet, but I do want to say be extremely careful with that. Because it will work in an atmosphere while you're burning your engine. But as soon as you go above the atmosphere, it'll suddenly go to 900 times, just like that. And I almost had a disaster in the previous video. But enough talking, spacebar. And at least we take off, right? So that's one good thing. And now I've exhausted my coffee, so I'm going to get some water while we launch. And you can see more of my completely disorganized background. Right, so there's nothing more to do now. We just wait. We just wait, and we'll see soon what this hot staging thing is going to do for us. So, altitude, acceleration is fine, and we just wait to see. Now, here's the issue that I spoke about. We can only go up to 10 times acceleration while we're in an atmosphere and while we're burning the engine. But if you put it on there, level 5, and we escape the atmosphere, it'll suddenly go to the level 5 of a different scale. So that's 900 times acceleration. And then, just like that, your whole craft has crashed again. So be very careful of that. So that's one thing. The other thing I also noticed was if you're launching and you're already in space, but your spent rocket stages are still going through the atmosphere, you can't use the full speed time warp because it still counts it as an active craft. And then again, if you put it on 5, so 10 times, and the craft or the spent stage crashes, then it'll suddenly jump to 900 time warp again. So that's it. Right, I can do the turn now. And this is the same as KSP. We're very familiar with this. It's the WASD keys. And of course we go to the 90. And we see what we can do with that. Now again, I have no indication of when the stage will end, but there it is. So burn and separate. So there's a nice hot stage separation without any explosions. So that's a nice thing. And I'll just keep rolling over. And we will hope for the best. Okay, that's far enough. Right, map view. Same thing as KSP, we see our trajectory here, and of course our apoapse. The atmosphere ends at 110 kilometers in this game, I think, so it is higher than KSP. but it makes sense, I mean, since it's the real Earth here. Now this is very much a suboptimal burn, but the other thing is your reaction nav ball doesn't update in the map screen. So I've moved it now. I've moved the craft. Let's see if I go out. You see it shifts. It doesn't update in real time, which is something that I'm sure will still be fixed. Anyway, I'm going to cut the engine. You can still control the engines from the map screen at least. And yes, now we see how much do we have left here. We're about 50%. So I think we should probably burn. I don't think we're going to make it, comrades. Let me just flatten it out a little. The reason I say that is because we have to reach 7.4 something kilometers per second, and we're a quarter of that basically now, or 20%, or you know, still far to go, in other words. So yes, we'll see what we can do, and we're almost out of fuel here. This is dubious. I'd love to reach the moon though, be a first, you know. And we're almost out of fuel. Here the apoaps and the periaps don't matter too much because the scale is much bigger, so it's all about the speed here. So we're done, and I'll hot stage and separate, and we'll see what we can do. Now you see there is the spent rocket stage going down still, so our time warp is limited because of that. But if you put it on max here, it'll switch its scale as soon as that stage crashes into the Earth, and then suddenly the whole thing goes 900 times. The other thing that I want to mention is, of course, we can extend the solar panels. We click and then click here, extend that. But I don't know if it really works yet because we don't get a value of the charge. And if I go to the map screen and I come out, it's back folded up, but it still counts it as being extended. So that's another bug there. But as I said, early access, and look there, I just changed the whole thing back to taking us to the ground again, but you can't see it in the map screen. No, we still have too far to go, 1.5 kilometers per second. Sometimes your apoap's value clips into the planet, so you just have to change your view. Hey, we might actually make it. Let me save this, and now look at this, be very careful. See, I'm putting it at 3 times because this one still has to crash there. There, look how it switched now. And if it was at 5, I would have zipped right into the ocean. So it's definitely a point that you have to be very careful of. That's why I keep emphasizing that. Otherwise everything is for naught. And that will be the same now when this stage also goes back into the atmosphere. But then it will step down instead of up. At least, yes, there you can see. Oh, but let's stop right there, because now it switched it to 10 times again. And then when this stage goes into the ocean, it'll switch back to 900. So it's very finicky. Very, very finicky. But I think we're close enough. We can just do the burn now. Right, let's do it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. The torque is way too much. Let's just lock to prograde. And what's going on? We're back in time warp again. You see what I'm telling you? This is something, it doesn't auto quit the time warp. So you have to be very attentive to that. But I think we might actually make it. Right, so there we are, comrades. Even though I thought we wouldn't make it, we still do have enough fuel to return home as well. We are in a 319 kilometer by 616 kilometer orbit, so it's a very sound low Earth orbit. And that's that. Now again, it's no point extending the solar panels because they'll just appear to retract again, and the electric charge doesn't seem to be running out, so I don't know if it's actually working or not working. It's really tough to say here. But anyway, we'll leave this craft here and then we'll just go back. You have the same options. Basically, assembly shop is a revert to VAB. Space Center, of course, you just go to the Space Center and then, of course, continue or main menu and so on. So I'm going to say Space Center because I don't want to lose the progress. Now, there's no real need to re-enter that craft because there's no re-entry heating yet. And like I said, the parachute doesn't work, so unless you do a propulsive landing, it's not going to work, and everyone will die horribly. And there's no landing legs. But now I want to see if we can take this craft to the moon, at least to a moon flyby. But to do that, I need some water. Where's my water? And this is a bottle. You won't be able to see that. It's way too small. But it's a University of the Western Cape bottle, which is where I worked for a number of years. And yes, so I'm proud of this. That was one of my parting gifts. Right, now let's see what we can do. So first of all, we have to click here to say we want to edit the rocket. Or actually no, we'll click on it and then we'll copy it. That's a nice feature, I think. Then we can work on the copy instead of the original one. Right. So how are we going to step this up? I think I'm going to have to replace this whole stage here. Maybe just the one. Now we have the attachment problem again, so I have to move the entire craft. Well, for science, comrades. Right, so we're back again. I don't know what's happening up here. I want the one with the attachment points to be the bottom stage there, and then I want to use a weaker engine, the Raduga, on the bottom of that. Now I want to use the radial decouplers. You see there's the two choices. The one has no for pass resources and the other has yes for pass resources. So maybe what it means is that you can transfer it, but it doesn't auto feed through like a fuel pipe. Maybe that's the difference here. Anyway, I'll just click the basic one, and there's no symmetry here, so I have to do them manually. Individually. So this is what we do for science, right? Remove this engine. Now let me think about this. We're gonna do a kind of asparagus thing, but obviously there'll be no fuel transfer, so we'll just see what we can do. Now for this to work, I have to use this kind of variant of the tank with the attachment points again. And we have to do this multiple times. And this is really where the staging becomes quite an issue, because it will mess it up and we'll have to fix that again. But it's, like I say, early days. Right, so this will be one of our stages. I think... Should we have another reaction wheel? If we can, I'll do that. If I can even see it. Good grief. We'll try it without that. No, it's there. I can't scroll any further, so I'm gonna have to eye that. Alright, so I'll take the parachute off. It is pointless anyway. I'll try and put it back on again. But this is the reaction wheel right here. It doesn't look very pretty on the top of that thing, but it works. But it won't attach now again, so I have to move the whole thing. Right, so you see it's a different diameter. You can't put it, maybe you can put it inside this cargo bay, but I doubt it because there's no offset tools or anything like that. I'll just put the parachute on the top just for kind of emotional support for whoever is going into this capsule, because they won't be using it, but hey, it's a bit of comforting news, I guess, to have it at all. So we'll use the nose cones again, just like in KSP. I don't know what the effect would be on the atmosphere if you don't use it. I assume it will slow down your craft and increase fuel consumption. But there we go. So now I think we are going to do the same thing again and build out another ring. But before I do that, we need the engines here. I wonder if we should go for the Radugas again. 6 of them. Let's try it. Just to see. If we can get away with lighter engines, we should do that. This weighs 0.78 tons, whereas the heavy one is 1.35, so it's almost double the weight. I don't care if it's slightly skew there. It's still central, but it uses different attachment points, as you can see. But anyway, that'll do. So the next thing that I want to now attach is... This is going to be quite a challenge, but this is going to be more of these decouplers. I will reach the moon. You can bet, but not with real money. Alright, are we there? I think we're there. Good grief, getting myself into very weird positions here. But I think that's all of them. And it's making me dizzy here. Can I move the whole thing? Oh no, no, that's exactly what I was scared to have happen here. Okay, at least it attaches. Just want to bring this down a little bit. Right, we'll make it, we'll make it. Now I want more of these tanks again with the attachment points. Oh dear, it's getting a bit crowded now. Let's just see what I can do. Okay, I think we still need 2 more. And then I'm going to put the biggest engines on these ones. Alright, now they are all in place, 6 of them again. Same thing with the nose cones. If this works, I'll be very surprised. But very happy. And it's a step beyond my first recording because I didn't do this. I just did the basic launch. So now we want the Zarya engines, again 6 of them. I guess this is more of an onion staging. Is that all of them? Right, I think so. Now the staging, comrades. This is where we're going to have a bit of a job ahead of us, maybe. Or maybe not. Is that all of them? I think that's all of them. Then they decouple. I think it's actually right. Then those will separate. Right, there's still a bit of an issue here. So I'll actually fire this one while we separate the inner ring. Then we do the hot staging for the rest. And I'll save this as, I'll call it Moon, as we always do with KSP, just because. The Moon machine, why not? Save that. And let's try it and hope for the best, comrades. More water. How I'm gonna get to the moon, I have no idea. Especially from an orbit like this. But there is the magnificent moon machine. That's what I should have called it, the magnificent moon machine. Anyway, full throttle and 3, 2, 1. Great. Don't know what our thrust to weight ratio is there, but it's just fine. Now again, I won't know when the engines will run out, so I'll just have to keep one of the tanks open. And this will be relatively quick. But this is just to get us through the thick part of the atmosphere. Magnificent moon machine. Okay, 50% through, more or less. And do I have time for another sip? Maybe. Kilometers, 9. Let's slow down a little. Oh, something is very wrong here. So why would that be the case? Because I didn't move anything. I think it might actually be the reaction wheel I added on the top. Let's go back to the assembly shop, and that rhymed without me intending that. I just want to try if I remove that, because there shouldn't be any asymmetrical business happening here. Ish. Right, now I'm gonna call it the Magnificent Moon Machine. Let's hope it earns that title. Save and launch again. I don't know, it's very strange. It was also when I was throttling down. Maybe that was a problem. Go. There's no asymmetry right now. So we'll see. And I notice we can also see some of the stars in the background during the daytime, but I guess that's comforting because we're going to space. Right, all of them are working right now, and they will be burning symmetrically as well. So let's see, the SAS is on by default, and there it's turning away. But why is it going this way? Oh well, I guess we're going this way. No, it's just gonna keep, and it doesn't matter even if I try to control it. And that SAS module, or reaction wheel module, didn't make any difference. It's the same result. Let's go back to the assembly. What can I do to change this? Because it's just doing that on its own, really. mean, what we need is engine gimbling. Without that, it's gonna be a real struggle. I still have a dream to be the first to the moon, but we'll see if I can do that. Maybe I should add multiples. Come on. Good grief. I have to move the rocket again. It's not making a difference. Okay, has to be swapped around, I guess. Let's try another one. Then the useless parachute. Right, save it again and launch. We'll just try, comrades, just for the sake of an experiment. And we'll see if it makes a difference. It's, like I said, only 4.5 kilonewtons, so I don't think it's gonna make a real difference, but maybe. Now, it's definitely on SAS, and T doesn't do anything, so full throttle and go again. Place your bets now. Is it gonna work or not? As soon as this thing starts drifting, we have a problem, because then I have no control whatsoever. The little bit of reaction wheel force is not enough to counteract the aerodynamic forces. Right, just keep it steady, that's it, just keep it steady. It's all you have to do for the first stage. Plus we have nose cones and everything, but it doesn't make a difference. But so far, I don't want to talk too soon. So far it's working. Maybe it was just that. More reaction wheels. More struts, more boosters and more reaction wheels, right, comrades? Okay, I think we're okay right now. And we have burned through them without me noticing. So I think let's try a turn at this point, very delicately. Now the atmosphere is so thin it shouldn't really have an effect. Looks almost like a proton at this point. Let's see if we can beat SpaceX to the moon. It's a challenge. Now docking is also going to be a real problem, but we don't even have docking ports yet. I don't think so. There's only the adapters. I don't think they can dock. Not that I'm aware of. But especially, you know, with these kinds of orbits, we'll have to be really precise because inclination changes will be way too expensive. But the first thing to fix is the nav ball, which freezes in the map view. So I can just see what I'm doing. Right, this is essentially our second stage, and just try to get us back to the 90, but I guess lock it to prograde. I think we'll just wait until the fuel runs out. Or should I? No, just leave it. Just don't overcomplicate things at this point. And there, so we're on our way. Now, fire the next one. Whoa, crazy behavior is happening with some of these boosters, with all of them, in fact. But okay, never mind that, comrades. You didn't see anything, nothing happened, everything is normal. Right, so let's just speed up a little, carefully again, with the awareness that it will not auto stop the time warp. Just want to get a bit closer to the apoapse. There, it did stop it. I don't know. Okay, now prograde is still locked. Continue the burn. So then essentially, why are we... Seems a little... Yeah, we're almost at the apoapse, but we're still pointing this way. So high, but maybe it's better because we're going to pass the apoapse. It's a challenge. But yes, essentially then our old second stage becomes the moon transfer stage or kicker stage. Are we at... No, those are the old apoapses. This is our one, so we're almost there anyway. Yikes. We still have more than half of our delta V that we need to burn. Don't know if we'll make it. Might have been a bad idea to do the time warp. Should have just kept burning. Yes, we got going back down. But we are 209 kilometers up, so maybe we can still make it. But it's going too slowly. Barely have any control. I guess I'm just used to my KSP reaction wheels. Alright, just keep it roughly there. We'll see what we can do. No, it's a bad thing. Let's revert. Because we still have, again, double this plus more to burn. No, we're going back to the assembly shop. But we'll just launch again straight away. Knowing that at least we can not flip over. Launch. And then I'm not going to stop burning. We just, not going into any time warp. We just keep going. And we see if that works. But I have a strong feeling that Elon Musk will beat us to the moon. Comrades. Which is appropriate since this is in Russia. And a very strange phenomenon has taken place. Should we roll with it? I think so. We just had a mysterious sideways force. When in Russia, and the fuel is already gone. Okay, no, this is bizarre. Wanted to say something when in Russia rocket launches you or Earth launches you, but apparently it didn't quite work out. Let's try again. Ish. I'm gonna name this video something like that. And now we don't even have a space port. No. Main menu, we'll try it again. When in Russia Earth launches you. Right. Launch. There's nothing else I can change, so cross your fingers. No bizarre behavior is occurring again. Where are we? I don't know. And apparently going back to the assembly shop doesn't remove the vehicles that are already in the launch. So it's not really a revert. Let's just go back to the shop and then fake edit something, like we'll edit this rocket and then launch it. Maybe that will work. Nope. No chance. So what can I do about this? To the main menu and let's say continue again, and then I'll just go to the tracking station and delete everything else. So you just right click on it to delete it. Right, that's it. Now if I do a quick launch here, I don't know what that means. Let's see if that works. Come on, we spent all this time building the magnificent moon machine. Finally, alright, so delete all the old rubbish first. Right, try again. Launch. That was too funny when it just zoop. Maybe that was all the velocity of the Earth's rotation as if it was added to the rocket already. I don't know. Right, now just do nothing for a while and just wait for us to go high enough to make a safe turn. So, in other news, comrades, I've been busy, well, I've been very busy lately. Obviously, I told you the last time I was going to do some lectures, and I did in last week already, the Monday and the Wednesday, two-hour lectures. And they were on the African space sector, and on, it was basically insights from different publications that I've done and other people as well for the book series on which I'm also an editor. And then the second part of the second lecture was on, let's just make a dramatic pause, was on the African space and education ecosystem, as I call it. And then I just basically spoke about that. And otherwise, right now I've been trying to create a website for myself with Google Sites. Just a kind of intellectual itinerary, I call it. And but yes, that's a struggle, you know, to get all the information, because I want to add as much as possible. And apart from that, there's another book chapter that I'm also working on. And yes, we'll see when that is published. Hopefully at some point. And there's two other things that I also want to publish still from my previous master's thesis and from other research that I did in Australia. We'll see. This stuff takes a long time, but it is worth it. Now I just need to keep my eye on the ball, so to speak. Just know when the fuel is gonna run out. Yes, you see, it's way too much of a waste here. Should do the gravity turn a long time ago, but it's impossible. Right, I don't even know in what direction we're going now. I'm trying to change it, but it's not helping. I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm supposed to be doing, so let's just put it back onto prograde, but it doesn't do anything. Okay, maybe now when the boosters are separated, doing their magical dance here. Come on, so we can't be going into these magical directions and things the whole time. Back to the 90 roughly, while there's still some fuel left. I also have to keep in mind, because I always swap the keys in KSP, up on the nav ball must be W, not S. And here it's still the old way. So I like to have it intuitively in that sense, not as if you're flying an aircraft. Because if you go to the right on the nav ball, it's the D key. If you go to the left, it's the A key. So if you go down, it's the S key, and up it's the W. But that's why we can customize stuff. Alright, let's keep turning over. Those poor reaction wheels are burning out, but they're not using any electrical charge, so I don't know if the solar panels work passively or something. Because they do have some cells there exposed. Right, leave it here, go back to the map and just see what's going on here. The altitude, again, is not really important. It's the speed. Hopefully we didn't waste too much with this kind of weird maneuver. But I guess it doesn't matter, because the alignment is totally off with the moon. I have no idea what I'm gonna do here. No planning is available. So it's eyeballing it, and I only know if you eyeball going to the moon from equatorial orbit, when you see the moon rise, that's when you burn. But what about a heavily inclined orbit? I'm not sure. Maybe it's this, no, but could it be the same? Because you still have to factor in the rotational velocity and all of that. But this is much better now. And we still have a good deal of fuel left. And we'll definitely have to burn the transfer stage, but maybe there'll be enough. Like I said, it's not really a return voyage because parachutes are useless. Okay, up to 3. Now maybe we can do some basic time warp. Just two times, nothing dramatic. Definitely gonna have to pitch up because Apoapsis is approaching anyway, even without time warp. Eesh, still have to double our speed almost. Now we do have to double it. Hard stage and separate, don't waste fuel. Good grief. Now our thrust to weight ratio is even lower. About 2 kilometers per second left. It almost looks like we don't score anything because last time, no, but we will score something because we had to use some of this upper stage, some of its fuel. But yes, with the real solar system, it's not as easy as with the stock KSP. Definitely not. But our Apoap seems to be coming back now. So I can drop the inclination thing here, the attitude. Drop the attitude and Come on. No, it's now another 2. Good grief. Keep underestimating it. So now we need to add 2. But it's the same as with the other rocket. I think it's just so inefficient, this whole launch. Especially with the wobbling all over the place. That we'll end up with the same stage that we had with a small rocket. Oh well. Apoapsis is coming back now. So much for the transfer fuel. But we're almost there. But it's nothing. It scores us nothing. Because again we have to burn the upper stage. That's disappointing. All of those stages and they just give us nothing. Except 2 extra or 3 extra reaction wheels. And we're still not there yet. To 7.5. And right, so it's about 7.7 actually. Now we're in orbit, so what can we do? We have basically the same amount of fuel left. No, it's more. It is more, but it's not that much more. Now what do I do about this? I wish I could plan it, but I can't. So we'll have to eyeball it. Now where is the moon again? It's right there now. But wouldn't that make kind of sense? No. Because again the moon doesn't move as fast as in KSP, so it should take 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 28 days to complete its orbit. And it takes us about 3 days to get to the moon, so it will have to be pretty closely aligned. So maybe the whole eyeballing thing can work after all. But now, you see, our time warp is restricted because the stages are still in the atmosphere. So you'll see it jump now. There we go, it stopped it actually. Oh, 3,000 times. Have to wait for this stage to burn up, crash. And then I guess we'll just time warp. So if you are not, if that's not a good thing for you, then you should now stop looking, because there's going to be a lot of flashing lights right now. Good grief, what's happening? Okay, max this out. Right, like this it's not so bad, just a lot of shaking. Now where are we? Okay, stop again. How many days of travel would that be? It's so difficult to estimate, but I think we'll wait a little bit more. Right, back to one time. Maybe we should burn now, because anyway we're coming down, so this is the time to go. Let's say prograde, please. And it will lock the prograde for you. Actually, our battery power is empty. But I can extend the solar panels, and it's magically charging in the night time, so there's that. But what I was saying is the attitude locks, like the prograde, etc., they will keep in time warp, unlike in KSP, which cancels that. So we can't use any magic tricks to stop our rotation. But now, is this right? I guess it's right. But now wait a minute, which way are we going now? That is the right way. I don't know, just burn. No, wait, stop. That isn't right. We should do it a bit further back, not down here. But then again, it should be when you see the moon, more or less. But the same rules don't apply. I don't know, I'm having lots of debates with myself, comrades. I think let's spin around and just do it from around here. Prograde is still locked, so let's burn. So there is some value in the solar panels. Right, let's see if we can have an impact. Plus, of course, the moon is inclined, but I think that's pretty good as we have it now. Yes, we'll have to have a lot more information than we have now. We'll need to be able to plan our trajectories like we do in KSP. Especially going to other planets and calculating the inclinations and all of that. I don't think we'll have enough. But at least I'm giving it a good try. Right. Maybe. Birth effect means we get more bang for the buck the more elongated the orbit is, so we may yet have some sparks if we can impact. But you see, the orbit line doesn't even update the whole time. But yes, we're gonna have some kind of situation. I was clicking on the X and now the orbit doesn't even show properly. Now it does. Now is that gonna be an encounter? It sure looks like it, as long as the moon can get there. We'll try it. We'll see what we can do. Let's go, comrades. It's almost like the early days of space exploration again, where we just have to guess, you know? And the early days of KSP. Now, I think we went... No. Maybe not. Too early, but I think... Maybe it's too late now. The moon is gonna cross our orbit now. Stop. And we still have far to go. I don't know how big its sphere of influence is. Or what I should be doing now. Normal is up, anti-normal is down. So maybe we should do that. But would that even help? I have no idea what I'm doing. But this is the farthest I've gone in this game, so that's something, right? I have this terrible feeling we're not gonna make it. What happens if I burn now? That might be the thing to do. Maybe my training has paid off in KSP. There, you know, sort of delay our arrival a little bit. We'll see. It's still gonna be... Maybe in the return. No. Plus, if I slow us down even more, it'll be delayed further. Ah dear, well. Sad face. Totally missed the mark. I wonder if I speed it up enough if we will encounter it. So the maximum is 84,000 times. And it might take another pass. This can take a while. Wait. Almost missed that one. But now what on earth is happening? So obviously we're just going to be passing it by. So this is some kind of a weird angle thing going on here. Or does that mean we're going to impact it? No, we are traveling away from it. Let's use the fuel. Retrograde. Try it. Maybe we'll make a moon orbit, but we have a flyby at least. I'm really happy about that. So where are you, moon? Nowhere to be seen, I guess. Right, are we ready? Let's just burn. Maybe. Yes! I've achieved a moon orbit. At least. And then if we burn at the apoapse, we might yet have our close encounter. Yes. Like an evil scientist. No, we've escaped. I thought we had an orbit. Aww. Oh dear. It lied to me. That was seriously an orbit. Maybe it's using some kind of in-body system or something. I have no idea. Just have to wait to roll over. If I speed us up now, will we encounter the moon again? Probably not, because we're going... Now, I say speed up time. Let's wait until we meet up with it again, organically, so to speak. Oh dear. Now maybe? Maybe, yes. Right. You see, it is an orbit, but it's not like in KSP, I guess, where it is using like the simplified physics and then just saying you're now in the sphere and in an orbit and that's it. So you still have to... Or it's like... I don't know. It doesn't have like a local reference frame. I don't know what's the right way to put this. But if I now keep us locked to retrograde and at least get an orbit, that will be something. This video is much longer than I had anticipated, but I'm enjoying it, so let's explore what this game can do. I don't even want to know how difficult it's going to be to get to other planets, if they are included in the game. We'll have to check. Right, now burn, take us close, relatively speaking. Can I just do an impact now? What I'm scared of now is that we're slowing down relative to the moon, so it's just going to pass us by. But let's do an impact. There. But don't count your chickens until they hatch. Right, we are moving along with the moon, so I can again rub my hands in glee and say I can celebrate like an evil scientist at the prospect of destruction. So we'll be landing somewhere near the Terminator. So that would be really interesting eventually to get proper landing gear and try and recreate Apollo. Okay, just go back to one time and let's see the moon. No moon can be seen. But why? Like, we're traveling retrograde to the moon, right? So the moon should be in a retrograde location. Is this a bug or what's going on? Why is there no moon? I mean, we did see the little picture in the distance. Maybe that's all there is. Probably, but I'll still crash into it. Okay, now we're really close and there's nothing but stars, so unfortunately there is no moon yet. So I'm the first to reach the no moon. Yes, fantastic. At least I think I am the first. There were only a few videos on this game before I started recording. And current altitude above the moon is 15 kilometers above the no moon, and we'll see if we have an actual explosion. So I'm doing science, you know, actually new discoveries. 9 kilometers, 8, 7, 6. I don't know if it will be at 0 or above 0 like on the moon in KSP. 3. Impending doom that we cannot see. 1.5. 1. And we pass right through the no moon. Oh well, I achieved my objective. I got to the moon. If it was here, I would have hit it. So anyway, I think we'll end off on that point, comrades. So this is obviously a very, very early access game. There is not even a moon yet. But so that obviously answers the question for the other planets. But it's something exciting, and I hope if you are interested in this game, you can check it out on Steam. And it was released yesterday, so there should still be a lot of development happening. But that's it. I'll return again soon with another KSP video with our Apollo series, and then we'll take it from there again. So thank you for watching, comrades. And I hope you enjoy this view of the no moon. See you soon again, comrades. Over and out from this, what did we call it? The magnificent moon machine.